Hello and welcome to Precontation Points video Snark. I'm making my way through Born at Midnight by CC Hunter. If you haven't seen the other videos, you might want to do that before jumping into this one, or else you might be confused. Links will be posted below. I also wanted to give a big shout out to those who are already supporting me on Patreon, Dawn and Phoebe. If you want to hear your name next week, either make a pledge to support me on Patreon, where you will have early access to my regular Snark, but also bonus Snark that can't be found anywhere else. However, I will also accept donations via PayPal or Ko-fi if a one-time donation is more your speed. Links will be posted below. Chapter 37. So the lion is about ready to pounce on Kylie and kill her, except that it doesn't. It turns towards the door, and as Kylie is thinking about shutting it and barricading herself in the room, then Kylie heard it. The kitten. The lion took a step out of the bedroom. She could go slam the door, push the bed against the wall, and listen as the animal ate her kitten alive. No! She rocked the chair back and forth to get the lion's attention. Come here, you ugly, foul-smelling monster. The phrase, too stupid to be alive, just popped into my head. No idea why, though. Daniel comes back and says that he's alerted Holiday. Holiday comes in, although Kylie tells her to stay away. Holiday says that Burnett is coming with his sedative gun, although he's a few minutes away. Kylie hears Holiday talking to somebody outside and telling them not to come in because it's too dangerous. And then Derek comes in, because of course he does, but Derek reminds her that he has some sort of gift with the animals. Derek does this thing that's less of an actual solid plan and more like just talking softly to Kylie, getting between her and the lion, and convincing Kylie that she needs to get to the door. And this goes on for a while, and after a certain point, it's like, okay, we get it, move on. They both eventually get out from the room, and Kylie, Holiday, and Derek quickly move the sofa in front of the door to block it from getting out. Although I'm still super confused about how it got into the room in the first place. It needed to have opened two doors unless it somehow got in through the window. Anyway, as anybody would be, supernatural or not, Kylie is insanely shaken by the entire thing. Holiday and Derek use their emotional powers over Kylie in order to lessen her fear. And yes, this is a good time to use those powers. And then Burnett bursts into the cabin with a rifle, which a little late, but the lion is still in there, so I'll let it pass, I suppose. Derek wants to tell the lion that Burnett doesn't want to hurt it, although Kylie doesn't have a whole lot of sympathy for the thing at this point. Later, Holiday sits with Kylie in her room. Holiday had taken it upon herself to personally clean Kylie's room of any remains of the lion, although as she explained to Kylie, it was that or get chewed out by Burnett. Kylie asks if a witch could have helped, but Holiday says that they were all on a hike with Sky and unavailable. They should be lucky that Derek was there. Kylie asks why the lion was there and how it got in. Holiday says that Kylie would hear about it tomorrow anyway, so she starts to tell her. There is somebody who is trying to kill all those highly protected animals, and the police think that one of the supernaturals is doing it, except now they have proof, or at least they think that they have proof. The fact that the lion was in the camp is only going to look super suspicious. Kylie asks the same thing that I've been asking. How did it get past two closed doors? Holiday suggests that they might have left the doors open and the thing accidentally closed itself into the room. And I'm not saying that it's stupid because it's out there, but at the same time, I'm not sure how anything else could have happened like this. But Kylie thinks that this was no coincidence that the lion was in her room. Things just aren't adding up. Kylie asks about Lucas, and Holiday confirms that he is a suspect. Despite Kylie insisting that Lucas isn't like that, Holiday says that things look bad for Lucas, especially since Frederica has taken off now, too. Holiday continues on and says that Burnett is going to question everybody at camp tomorrow, and there's nothing Holiday can do to stop it. He might even shut down the camp, although Holiday is fighting tooth and nail to stop that from happening. Burnett comes in just long enough for Holiday to tell him to piss off. After he's gone, Kylie asks that Daniel found Holiday to tell her what was happening. Holiday says that it sort of happened like that, but less directly. See, apparently Daniel has attached himself to Kylie, so he can only communicate with Kylie. However, Daniel can communicate with others who are also dead, so he did that in order to carry a message to Holiday. And that person was Kylie's Nan. And since Holiday talked with Kylie's Nan, Kylie asked her if Nan was supernatural or not. Holiday says no. Kylie tells Holiday that she finally was able to see into somebody else's mind, which has fully convinced her that she actually does belong there, and she's ready to finally figure some things out. Chapter 38. Following the incident in Kylie's room with the lions, Burnett tried to figure out who did it. However, as myself in the book keeps mentioning, none of these species actually like each other, so it quickly turns into every species blaming all of the other species. And then when that begins to run dry, they start flinging out specific names. Lucas and Frederica are at the forefront of the suspect list, but even people like Kylie make this list simply because she's different. Things even get fairly heated between Sky and Holiday, with Sky saying that maybe it is really time to close the camp. As Kylie contemplates Sky's recent behavior, she suddenly understands a lot of what her mom did, because, sure, let's get into this right now. She also can't stop thinking about Lucas, but in the meantime, Derek is there. Not like he's put the moves on Kylie or anything. In fact, since the incident in her cabin, he's barely been alone with her, but he does sit with them at meals sometimes. Kylie is also scared to enter her cabin every single time she needs to go out, which, don't blame her. She uses her cat as an indication that there isn't any wildlife in there, or Daniel. And speaking of Daniel, he's gone back to not speaking to her, which, so much for actually advancing the plot, I guess. One step forward, and then most of the chapter spent describing things that have already happened in the most boring way possible. One day, Miranda tells Kylie that, with the help of the dyslexia book, she was able to figure out where she went wrong with the curse on the piano teacher and has managed to reverse it. Not only that, but he has since checked himself into a mental hospital because he can't stop thinking about being a toad and, during the sessions, confessed about his attraction to little girls. Well, okay then. It was a subplot that served no purpose on top of being icky beyond belief, but at least it was resolved. Kylie then tells her friends that they might actually be shutting down the camp, probably before the end of the week if the FRU guys have anything to say about it. She overheard the counselors talking about how they got in the white tiger, even though somebody from the FRU was supposed to be guarding it, but apparently somebody got into the empty lion enclosure, and while the guy was investigating that, they snuck in and killed the tiger. And as Kylie is telling them about this, she has a sudden insight. Derek had said that the lion was confused as to how he got into her room, but this is apparently important, and she thinks that she knows how to get to the bottom of all of this. Chapter 39. We immediately jump to Kylie barging in on Derek and asking him to communicate with the animals. However, he's quick to say that his animal communication powers are more like sensing the emotions from animals rather than Dr. Dolittle. Kylie is upset because whatever she thought of, and no, I don't know what she's planning, relied upon Derek doing whatever with the animals. She tries to reason with Derek, saying that the camp is the only thing keeping the different species from killing one another. Derek understands and knows what it is that she's trying to say, but doesn't change the fact that that's not how Derek's powers work. Derek keeps hammering in the fact that his powers don't work like that, which he apparently feels he has to because Kylie isn't really getting it. Yes, I'm also getting frustrated. But eventually he points out that Burnett won't let him anywhere near the animals. Kylie says that they'll just use Holiday to distract Burnett since he's got a huge crush on the counselor. So the setup is this. Somebody stole Holiday's phone and used it to text a 911 distress message to Burnett. Helen will be doing something in order to keep Burnett on a wild goose chase across the camp for as long as possible. With the message sent, Kylie and Derek move into the animal area, which Perry has already unlocked for them, before Perry takes off. Kylie tells Stella to go back to the camp and keep an eye on Burnett. Kylie is also anxious that the animals won't want to talk to Derek if there are a bunch of people around. Having already studied the maps, Kylie and Derek took off to the section called the Lion's Den first. Lion's Den, that didn't have a good ring to it. I don't know what Kylie's expecting for them to call the lion habitat. As they get closer to the lion den, Kylie starts to have a panic attack to when the lion had been in her room. Derek asks her what it is that they'll do if they find out that Lucas is behind all of this. Kylie says that they'll tell Holiday, the same as if it had been literally anybody else. Derek asks why she's so certain that Lucas isn't behind this, but in the same breath, Kylie also asks why Derek is so eager to pin all of this onto Lucas. They get to the enclosure and Derek explains where the lions are in there. He says that he can feel their emotions, but right now they only just view the two of them as a threat. Derek asks what it is that he should do, and Kylie suggests that they ask why it is that the lions are so afraid. One of the lions comes over and Kylie seems to recognize it as being the one from her room. Kylie had taken a step back to give Derek some space and then somebody attacks her. Another person shows up to deal with Derek. The one holding Kylie suggests that they should throw the two of them to the lions. However, Derek makes the guy holding him pass out. This just pisses off the vampire holding Kylie and he runs off with her. He jumped into the air and the hard landing made Kylie bite her tongue so hard that she started bleeding. When the vampire put his mouth over hers to drink the blood, Kylie kicked him in the groin. The vamp sent her flying into a fence where Derek came running over to her. The vampire comes back to Derek and tosses him into the lion enclosure, but Kylie can't think about that right now because the vampire grabs her. And then she seems to have an out-of-body experience, I guess. It's like she can't even process what's happening to her. Derek manages to climb out from the enclosure, and then somebody attacks the vampire, and it's Della. And the three of them start to fight the vampire. Except something about Kylie isn't right. Derek apparently can neither see nor hear her, and then Kylie seems to realize that she's not currently in her body, and worries that she might have died. Thanks for listening to my book Snark on YouTube. If you enjoy my videos, please hit that subscribe button. I post a new Snark video every Monday. Don't forget to check out my other videos, Snark of Stalking Jack the Ripper and The Plan. If you've already seen those, then you can head over to Tumblr for my main book Snarks. And if all of that is somehow still not enough for you, then you can become a Patreon supporter for just $1 a month and read a bunch of bonus Snarks that aren't up anywhere else. Plus, Patreon supporters get a weekly shoutout in all of my videos. Also, if you want to read some of the stuff that I've published, then you can purchase my works on Amazon. I have 17 erotic short stories, 1 short story collection, and 1 full-length novel. Links will be posted below. See you next week, guys. As Kylie contemplates Sky's recent behavior, she suddenly understands. Kylie is also scared to enter her cabin every single time she needs to go out, which, don't blame her. She uses... Oh my god, why? This is bad behavior.